Hey, today I want to talk about dying to self. And I'm going to refer to Luke 9, verse 23-24, reading my Bible. And he said to all, "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross daily and follow me. For whoever who would save his life will lose it. But whoever who loses his life for my sake will save it." I know that sounds counterintuitive, but for me, this verse, it appears that when we die to self, that is actually when we start living, or when life begins. When our flesh is no more, and Jesus is magnified as opposed to us and our will, our desires, what we want, he then can begin to work in us and through us. A dead thing will find it difficult, or a dead thing, let me say, won't struggle with many things. Offense, unforgiveness, bitterness. Even temptation, I believe, is better handled to a fully surrendered body. And sometimes this dying to flesh daily is a moment by moment journey in the same day. Many things happen in life, many destructions that the flesh can and will want to respond to. So sometimes that dying to flesh has got to happen severally through the day. And I believe God is glorified and witnessed in our lives when we can finally accept that our lives are not our own. The word says, "My body is for the Lord and the Lord for my body." Another statement that may sound counterintuitive in the state of the world that is driven by self. Really. Self this, self that, it's just self. We think of ourselves too much. Yet the word tells us to think of others more highly than ourselves. In fact, our prayer life grows, I believe, when it stops being about us, or just about us. But asking God this morning, what's in your heart today? Give me the burden that you have. I'm just but a vessel. What can I do for your kingdom? I believe that's where he wants us to be. I think the fruits of dying to self is even beautifully seen and evident when practiced in our marriages, in our parenting, in our leadership. When we think of ourselves less. Our will coming into subjection to the will of God and saying, you know what? Like Jesus did. In this moment, Lord, this may be difficult. This may even be so unfair. But your will and not mine be done. I trust you. Your ways are higher than mine, better than mine could ever be. So your will be done. To follow Christ will cost you everything. I guess the question to ask yourself is it worth it? The one who gave his life for you and for me. It almost feels like it's the least we can do. If that's what he did, it's the least we can do. As I wrap, I must plug this movie in case you haven't watched it. Have you watched The Forge? If you haven't, why not? Please go see it before it's out of the cinema. Though now I know it's available everywhere because we watched it at home recently. The beautiful lesson about the Forge movie is the power of forgiveness. For me, that was one of the great highlights. Imagine the person who killed your son, your child. You not only forgive them, but you introduce them to Christ. and you disciple them on their Christian journey. It was such a powerful movie. I believe it brings this to life, dying to self. Because it's evident that to be a disciple of Christ, you're not your own. This flesh cannot do certain things like that. Only through the power of Jesus Christ can we be elevated. Yeah, to a life like that. Of truly knowing the meaning of loving one another. Even of loving our Father in heaven. Yeah. The lesson and the journey, die to self. And again, this is not a thing that we do by works. But I believe the step first is to have the willing heart to do it, to obey, and let God walk that journey with you. Like I said, it's a moment by moment sometimes. This faith journey requires Him. We can't do it by ourselves. And the Holy Spirit is present. The Comforter, the Teacher, is here with us. Have yourself a beautiful, selfless day.